Just when you thought it couldn't get any more awesome, Utah has just taken gold and silver to a whole new level in their state. Let's talk about it as we explore. And I'm talking about HB 306, a new piece of legislation that has all it needs is just the signature of Governor Spencer Cox, and that will authorize the state treasurer to issue a competitive procurement for a precious metals-backed electronic payment platform. Yes, this is big news, folks. Utah was groundbreaking, being the first state to recognize gold and silver as legal tender, which really only reinforces what we already knew based off of the Constitution in Article 1, Section 10. You know, for those of us who have been accumulating precious metals for any length of time, we know that gold and silver are sound money. In fact, that has been the case long before there was ever a Constitution here in the United States of America. That's why I like to accumulate it in physical form. And when I do so, well, I'm always considering Summit Metals, not just because they're the channel sponsor, but because they really do have very competitive prices for gold and silver products. So check them out at summitmetals.com. Now, this story, it's coming to us from Kitco, and really is breaking news. Gold and silver continue to play important roles as monetary assets in global financial markets. And now the state of Utah is embracing precious metals as a local currency. But the reality is that is not anything new. The goldback originated in Utah. No question about it. In fact, this is a Nevada goldback, but the one goldback is sort of the foundation and has been available probably most frequently in the state of Utah, but it is spread around to many other states. But even such, it is not quite as popular as digital transactions. Well, this takes it to the next level, and I'm going to get into that here right now. The state legislature passed a bill just a day or so ago allowing government vendors to choose to be paid in gold and silver for the first time in America. This is huge. It is now awaiting the signature from the governor, and it allows the state treasurer to issue this competitive procurement. It allows state vendors to opt for payment in physical gold and silver. That's pretty big. That's pretty amazing. And likely it will never be challenged in the courts, just as many of these other bills that have passed states around the country have never been challenged in the federal courts, well, because of Article 1, Section 10. In fact, you could probably go in and represent yourself and just bring up the Constitution and say, there you have it. This allows us to do the very thing that we're doing. And I think it's remarkable because it does send a message to the Federal Reserve. Now, this channel is the only channel that has been consistent on bringing you news on what I refer to as the sound money revolution. This is an extremely big deal to see these states move in this direction, and to see it come full circle back to Utah is groundbreaking, and I think they're going to set the stage for other states to move in this direction. They're so far ahead of pretty much any other state in this regard, so this makes it an even bigger deal. Representative Kenneth Ivory sponsored Bill HB 306, and Senator Keith Grover pushed the legislation through the Senate, according to Kitco. The state politicians noted that the legislation is the latest evolution in Utah's stance in favor of sound money. Way back in 2011, Utah became the first state to recognize gold and silver as legal tender. Now an electronic payment system will create more flexibility by fractionalizing physical silver and gold. So, you can use physical silver and gold for transactions in Utah right now in the form of coins like this, or in the form of goldbacks like this. There's plenty of different ways to be able to do it physically, but I think digitally, I think it's going to make it even more profound because it'll be very, very convenient for most folks. Pretty amazing. In uncertain economic times, Utah is providing vendors and service providers with the option to receive payment in gold and silver, Representative Ivory said. This law gives Utahns an alternative to choose how they preserve the purchasing power of their earnings and savings. I tell you what, to have a choice is pretty remarkable, and it's amazing. We, as accumulators of gold and silver, stackers they're called, we've always had a choice in how we save our money, but now we have a choice in how to transact, at least now in Utah, if the governor signs the bill. Last year, Ivory also sponsored legislation that allowed State Treasurer Marlo Oaks to invest up to 10% of the state's rainy day funds in gold. Today, according to Oaks, this is another news story, Utah gold reserves have grown to $60 million as of the end of the legislative session. $60 million in gold reserves in Utah. That is big news, folks. Amazing. They believe in gold. And they were smart to do so because look where gold is now, well above $3,000 an ounce. Utah's new sound money legislation was the outcome of the Utah Precious Metals Study Work Group that was created just last year. A key takeaway from this work group is that citizens should have a choice in how they conduct financial transactions, said Oaks. HB 306 gives state vendors the option to be paid in precious metals while ensuring the physical assets backing the system are stored in Utah and subject to regular audits. That's really the key here, regular audits, and of course, hopefully they'll be transparent, unlike what we're doing with our federal holdings. And hopefully that will change, though. Rand Paul has put in an effort with the Treasury Secretary that's supposed to, I think, come back with the answer today, if I'm not mistaken, as of the recording of this video. We'll see how that plays out. I'll keep an eye on that story as well. So this is groundbreaking for sure, ensuring the physical assets being backing the system are stored in Utah. This not only supports a secure and transparent system, but takes an important step towards making transactional gold a viable option for all citizens in Utah. And of course, people are going to say, well, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Well, I tell you what, for most transactions that are done digitally, you don't really even hold dollars in your hand until you don't own them until you hold them either. In fact, anything digital in the bank that you use, if you do take that risk, there's counterparty risk. Until you actually hold the actual note in your hand, you're going to have that situation that's going to be in a state that you're going to find yourself in, even with digital transactions of any sort, no matter what's backing them. You have to have some level of faith whenever these transactions occur, such as the case when using the mail system. Any kind of carrier of mail, it's in their hands if ever you ship something off, which is tough. I know I don't like to mail things out and receiving them. I've just learned to have faith that they're going to get here, but there's going to have to be some level of faith no matter what. So even if gold and silver are transacted and used for transactions digitally or what have you, it's always good to have some physical on your person and on your, in your possession is crucial, folks. No question about that. Now, a key takeaway from the work group is that citizens should have a choice in how they conduct these transactions. So this is going to be something that's going to be with us for a while, and that is what this work group has done. Other states can learn from this. According to media reports, the working group heard from 2 potential vendors who offer platforms enabling gold transactions. That's UK-based GlempPay and also the Goldback, which is headquartered in Alpine, Utah. And so those are the 2 organizations that are going to be able to provide sort of this transactional digital ledger, this transactional ledger system, kind of like a blockchain or that type of thing. We'll see how that plays out. Nonetheless, that is going to be an important thing that is going to need to be utilized for this. So we'll see how it plays out. We're going to keep an eye on this story and other stories, because that's what I do on this channel, to bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals. But one thing is for sure, when I do these stories, I always like to show some precious metals that actually were used for transactions way back in the day. Now, gold was not used nearly as much as silver, but this is the largest gold coin ever used for circulation in the United States, the $20 gold double eagle. The St. Gaudens variety, which is my favorite design for sure, no question about it. And this is the largest common silver coin. Now, silver dollars did circulate, but half dollars much more so, for sure. And so this is the Walking Liberty half dollar. Both these designs essentially made the foundation for the modern bullion coins that we use today. The gold eagle, there it is. There was the same design, and the silver eagle. There's a reverse, but this is the inspiration for the obverse. There was the Walking Liberty design. So there you have it. Let me know what your thoughts are about this story. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.